What's up, guys? We are out here at a place that I have yet to have fished at before, Willow Waterhole, which is something that was, something that was recommended in a comment on another video. We just got the first fish of the day, very small channel catfish, just on a piece of bread. Say hello. Put him back. Yeah, everybody. We got him on the trusty old cage feeder. Just using the cage feeder here with a bit of 12-pound monofilament going down to a size 1 carp hook. It's a little bit large, but it's what I had tied at the time, and I was ready to get a move on, so we left it on the rig. Apart from that catfish, not a whole lot doing out here at the moment. Fill this back up. There we go, and I'm going to pinch a little bit of bread on the hook. Some plain white bread. Doesn't get any simpler than this. I bought this bread for 88 cents. There we go. Just like that, hook tip exposed. I'm going to toss it back out under this bridge. Now, typically speaking, if I'm fishing a wide open space of water, I'm going to look for spots like this. I'm not just going to cast out into the deepest point of the lake. Just not the way I like to fish. So I'm going to cast right by those overhangs under this bridge. There's nothing more reliable than the classic underhand pitch, and that is as far as I want to go, right there. Tighten this down just a little bit. Bait runner on. Set that in. Let the fish do the rest. In the meantime, got a bait casting reel. This is a great way not to go bored if you're bait fishing. And I've just got on this little, it's actually a speckled trout rig. I used to use these a lot for saltwater fishing. And I'm just flicking this out with a bait caster. This bait caster is really, really good. And even this, very lightweight, I think it's like an 1/8 of an ounce lure, will fly an absolute mile. I've seen some fish hitting the top of the water, and this is not a topwater lure, but I can skip it, I can jig it, doesn't matter. I can mimic whatever it is they're going after, but haven't hooked up on one yet. So keeping my eyes peeled. As soon as we see that splash on top of the water, I'm trying to hit that, I'm trying to sight cast to it. Alright, and this is why we keep a bait caster handy. Yes, oh yes, I told you I could do it. This is what's been hitting the top of the water. Tiny little bass, and of course I cast out right at the edge of the bank. There's a lot of overhangs here, and usually when you have an overhang at the edge of the bank, you tend to have the current of the water, or the flow of the water, cut underneath the bank, so it's a bit of an arc like this, and the fish will hang out, there you go, hang out underneath it, and as things fall off of it or swim towards it, that's when they'll ambush it. So we get the hook out of this fish's mouth, there we go. Nice little bass. He is tiny, but it's still fun to catch fish. So let's put him back. This is a good spot. We walked halfway around this entire lake, stopped at this bridge, 2 for 2. So let's keep it up and see what happens. Alright, we got something else on the bait. It's another catfish. Slightly bigger one. Slightly larger channel catfish. Which typically means, I'm going to put him in these plants here. It's for support while I grab him. There we go. Typically, what that means is that the bait is working. It's drawing in more fish. That tends to be how it works. You get the small fish in there first. They start picking away at it, and that draws the attention of the larger fish. Now, granted, I wouldn't call this a particularly large fish, but it's bigger than the last one we got. God, these fish are so long. These channel catfish, they're dragon-like in appearance. Get this out of the way. God, it's incredible. Absolutely incredible how long this fish is for its body size. Really neat. Anyway, let's get him back in the water. Can you hear him talking? Alright, got the cage feeder packed again. Quite full, overflowing actually. I like that because it just puts just an excess of bait in the water. Now granted, you can overfeed a fish to the point where it's not going to want to take your hook bait. But I typically find that the majority of what's going to eat this are going to be sunfish and catfish, and it's a little while before the carp show up. So anyway, we're still hoping for Mr. Carpy. We've got Brett on a hook here. I'm just going to pitch it right back to the same spot. It's a bit of a double-edged sword when it comes to casting the same spot over and over and over after you've caught fish and released them. The good part is you're keeping that bait, that scent, coming from the same area. There we go. The drawback, you can hear a train back there. The drawback is that fish tend to realize after a while, hey, something's wrong, and they get spooked and they don't come back to the same area. You can overfish a particular spot, especially when you're margin fishing like this. Bread on a hook. Feeder full. Target acquired. Just gonna put it right back where it was. That seems to be the spot. There's definitely a fish down there making that rod top dance. I just cannot put it there. Did you see that? It won't take it. It won't go on a run. Whoa, okay, there it goes. That's a run. I take back what I just said. Whatever this is a decent-sized fish. Not a fish. But it is really big. And I don't know how I'm going to unhook it. So let me show you guys what was causing all the fuss. Really big soft-shell turtle. Hey, buddy. Very hard to hold these things. I've found out over the years that holding it just above the back legs is the easiest and safest way to do it for both parties involved. Is that a face? Or is that a face? Look at that. And you can see his nose, especially adapted to sit just like this in the water. And there he goes. Just kicked out of my hands. Off into the water he went. But anyway. That's where he was going anyway. But yeah, you can see his nose, especially adapted to sit just above the surface of the water while the rest of the animal's concealed. Really cool, and that's the second one I've hooked in this spot, so I do think it is time to move on. If there's one thing I hated, is hooking turtles. That turtle will be fine, so will the last one, but it's just a mess. Doesn't do any of us any good, and it is hard to deal with. So let's get out of here. Let's go find another spot. Well, we moved on to another bridge. More of the same. More of the same. Hold still, buddy. I think this is just typical of fishing in the South, is you're going to get more catfish than anything else. You know, every region has its bait thief. You hear different people from different areas talk about what theirs is. It is no secret that in the South, it is, carefully turning them around, the catfish. In my case, it always seems to be the channel catfish. Anyway, put him back. Ugh. Now, we had a screaming run a moment ago, and I lost it. I lost it because when I set the hook, I had the bait casting reel in my other hand, and I was trying to reel it in so I could throw it aside real quick, and the lines got tangled with each other, and the fish fought and got off the hook. So I'm going to stay here for a few more minutes. Might just be catfish, but you never know. So let's get it back out again. got it right under that overhang, right around the edge. And that's where a lot of fish, especially carp, tend to come cruising when they're looking for food. I mean, it's the hottest part of the day. Really, it is the worst time of the day to fish for carp. But, you know, you gotta fish when you can. Well, guys, I don't think there's any getting past the relentless channel catfish that are out here. There's too many of them. They're too small. They're like TIE fighters. Just everywhere. And they're eating everything. Now, I'd be willing to bet that these were all recently stocked here, just based on the size. About, 8 to 12 inches seems to be the norm. The wind's really picking up now. But yeah, this is the story of the day. So if you want to come out to the Willow Waterhole, or watering hole, or whatever it's called, I don't know. Lots of catfish to be had. If you're into catfish, this is a good spot. Put this guy back. Let's get out of here. It's too hot.